Hello, everybody. It's Friday, and we've made it through the week. It's Linda Goldman back with you again for the final day of our boot camp. I'm so delighted to have met you all. I've got emails from many people. I've spoken to a few people, so this has really been fun. And I hope you've enjoyed it as much as I have. And I do get I got a lot of great feedback that you're enjoying it and getting great information. So thank you for letting me know, and also for letting me know if you have questions, which I have gotten some questions and I'm always happy to get them. So today, we're going to discover the golden opportunities from your book, and this is where we bring it all together. So now we started with the focus of your book, and we spent a few days digging into each part of the process. So the focus was what your book is about and who it's for. The design was the title, the subtitle, the cover image. Wednesday, we talked about the structure and some easy ways to structure your book, and I think that was a big breakthrough for many people on seeing some easy ways, using numbers, using how-to, using a formula or steps. So that was the place where I think most people are lost. Like, a book seems like such a big thing. What do you do with all the content? How do you organize it? So once you have a structure, then you fill in the blanks. And so that comes to the writing. And that's still a scary thing for some people. I hope less so. But the surprising thing was that so many of you actually want to write rather than record your book. So that really surprised me. I thought it would be more the other way, at least half and half, or the majority would want to record their book. Of course, you can do some of both. You can record some chapters and try it out for yourself. But it's good to have people that like to write, because for me, writing is fun. And if it is for you, then great. That's great. And now you know how many words you need to write per day in order to work backwards to get the size book you want for the date you want. So that was kind of all outlined for you. And so today we reached Friday, which is the golden opportunities that come from your book. And I think you're going to really love this, because it's going to open your eyes to all the possibilities of what you can do with your book, and how you can really benefit, and both yourself and all the people that you touch. Really, it could be worldwide, because once you're on Amazon and your book is out there, anyone in the world can benefit from your book. So you have far-reaching opportunities. So yesterday we talked about why you really may be a writer, even if you don't think you are. And I think actually more of you now think you are a writer than we thought previously. So that was kind of a revelation. We talked about how to write your book quickly and how to record and edit your book professionally if that's the route you chose. I gave you some homework, and this was quite enlightening. It was to go to the Fleisch readability formula and to put in some of your content, some text that you've written, maybe on your website or for your clients or patients. And quite a few people sent in something. I would say the majority said that they were quite surprised that their writing was at a higher level than they realized. And a few people got some good scores, or some scores that were kind of in the average range. Not too good, not too bad, maybe grade 11 or 12 rather than grade 9. So if you scored higher, not to worry, because there are many ways to simplify your writing, and a good editor should also help you do that. So you may need some editing at that point, but there's also many tricks that I can show you for those of you who are in the program to really make your writing much simpler and easier to read very quickly. And these are tricks of the trade that I picked up over many years of writing for clients, because I have to write at that level. I can't write at a college level for the average consumer, and that's basically who you're writing for as well. So that's quite important to know. I just wanted to give you a little tip. A few of you, more than a few, have asked about doing bibliographies or references, or how do you source them, where to source them. And I did a little digging around, and I found this wonderful site, bibme.org. And so this is where you create your citations or your bibliography. And you can choose the style you want, APA, MLA, Chicago, etc. So I thought, wow, that looks pretty good. I didn't actually try it out. But you can take some citation that you have and just give it a go and see what happens. It's amazing what you can find on the internet. There's so much amazing stuff now that, just Google it and you can find it. So I just wanted to share that with you. Now, I want to get to our opening Q&A, and I want to know what you most want to learn today, because today is the last day to ask me live questions. And so we're going to launch this poll, Tracy, and I'm going to turn off my video camera for a little while so I can concentrate on helping you get the content you want. So I'll see you in a bit, and let's see what you're looking for today.
Thanks, Linda. And just a reminder to use the question and answer box that's typically located in the top left of your computer screen, and let us know what you most want to learn from Linda today. Linda, our first question is, what is the #1 income generating strategy?
Well, I will cover that in a minute. So thank you for that question. I don't know if there's #1, but there's maybe three of them, 2 or 3. And so not everyone will want to do one, but you're going to see, I think there's actually 2 main ones, and I'll show you in a minute. So we're definitely going to cover that today.
Thank you, Linda. And Steve, you just sent a question, but I'm not sure if I'm quite understanding it. Can you try again? David would like to know what's the difference between a workbook, a 30-day or a 30 meditations type book, and a book.
Sorry, the third one was a book? Is that,
a book.
All right, well, so I mean, a book basically has content and maybe some illustrations or pictures. A workbook is much less content, but it has place for exercises, so you have some activities or exercises in it. I mean, it's a really good idea to have a companion workbook to go with your book for many reasons. First of all, you can guide people and help them actually be active, because a book is pretty passive, right? I mean, you read a book and then it's up to the reader if they want to put anything into action. But all too often we read a book and, you know, maybe we put something into action and maybe we don't. It depends. So a workbook is a wonderful thing to have as a companion. Plus, it could double your profits, because if you bundle a book and a workbook, you know, maybe the workbook is a little bit less money, but still, I mean, let's say you sell the book for 15 and the workbook for 10, and you have a package, you can make $25 instead of 15 per sale. So those are really good things to do. I'm not sure what you mean by a book. I think you mean the first one, the former, which is the actual book itself. But if I didn't get that right, please type in the question again or reframe the question.
And he's saying just a regular book.
Yeah, so a regular book is a book. That's it, a book.
Excellent. We actually have a question for you, Linda. Do you enjoy creating books yourself?
Yes, thank you for asking me that. I love writing books. I love reading books. I love writing books. I love everything to do with books. I have it's funny because I was teaching many years ago, I was teaching English to people that didn't speak English, and we had an exercise on how many books you had in your house. And some people said, oh, a few books. I must have thousands of books in my house. I mean, I have books in every room of my house. I write books. I love writing books. I love writing my own. I love helping clients write books. So yes, I think books are pretty central to my life, and one of the things I like best. In my spare time, I go to bookstores and buy more books. So I hope that answered your question.
Thank you, Linda. And also, one of your viewers just wanted to give a big thank you to you for your valuable training this week.
Oh, thank you. I really appreciate that.
Heidi's looking for more useful nuggets about getting started and how to best promote the book before and after you write it.
Yeah, I think, Heidi, I'm going to speak to you privately because Heidi has joined. And I think you need more detailed information now about that. And we are going to be covering that in much more depth in the course. And I also want to talk to you about your book, in particular, what you have in mind. So I think that those 2 questions, I've already answered them in a general way. And if you want more specifics, oh my goodness, then I will be speaking with you, if that's all right.
Thank you, Linda. And I just a few more quick questions here. We also have Steve. Can we hire you out as our editor without the class?
Yes. Yes, you definitely can. And it's more than editing because, I mean, editing is part of what I do, but really guiding you and structuring your book is the whole package. If you want literally just editing, I don't know if I would do that because I need to work with the whole book. But I really need to see what you need. So contact me, email me, we'll set up a time to talk, and I will get you the best guidance and help, whether it's me or somebody else.
Thank you, Linda. And one more question, or comment, I should say. What is your #1 piece of advice to the people enrolled in your course that are writing a book for the first time?
Well, that's a good question. I guess it's really to set a date for yourself when you want your book finished and honor yourself. Like, this is something you're choosing. Nobody's forcing you to do it. You're choosing to do it because you want to get your message out to the world. You want to share your message. You want to build your business. And if you take the course and you don't follow through, then you'll just really be losing an opportunity for yourself as well as for anybody you could help. So that's why I say it's so important to make a decision. And if you want to do it, then I'll be there helping you all the way. Like, you will not lack support or knowledge. But you have to do your part, which is honoring your own decision to get the book done. By the time you decide, you're going to decide your date for your publication, not me. And I'm going to do everything to help you. So I hope that's a good piece of advice, because having those deadlines that I had for myself, at the beginning, they were always set by the publisher. And then once I was on my own, I set my own deadlines because without them, I would not have finished. So I guess that's the piece of advice, is to, just put that effort into it for the time. It's only 3 or 4 months. It's not forever. Make the commitment to yourself and honor that.
Excellent, Linda. Thank you very much.
Okay, so let's move along, and we'll have time for more questions in a little while, as we always do. So today we're going to talk about the pot of gold at the end of the rainbow. And we're going to focus on 6 main ways to make money from your book. And I'm going to also show you the 2 or 3 that I think are the top ones, but there's really very many. There's sort of 2 or 3 overarching ones. And this is how most of the wellness authors that you see out there, the big names, really make money from their books. And I'll show you a few in a minute. And a little thought on why you might want to give away some of your books for free, but that's just a little tactic that we'll talk about soon. So if you got my guide, and you should have probably received this when you signed up for the boot camp, in the 3rd guide, this was a little mind map or a little diagram of ways to make money from your book, the opportunities that come. And I'm going to go over a few of those right now. But before that, just as a starting point, before we discover maybe some of the best ones, let's do a little poll. And I want to know the main reason you want to write your book. So is it to become the authority? Is it to get more clients or patients? Is it to get leads so you can sell your services or your products? Or is it to leave a legacy? And any one of those is fine, and it could be more than one for sure. But what do you think is the leading one for you, the main one for you?
Thanks, Linda. I've launched the poll, so just please, you can answer either one or a multiple choice. And let's give everyone just a quick moment more to respond to the first poll. And we still have some results coming in, so I'll just keep it open one more moment.
Okay.
Excellent. So become the authority, Linda, 33%. Get more clients or patients, 29%. Get leads to sell services or products, 19%. And to leave a legacy, 43%.
Ah, that was 43%?
Correct.
Wonderful. Oh, lovely. So, I mean, you can actually do all of those, but the primary one that you do, whatever is deepest for you or most important to you, sometimes you may structure the book a little differently. You may write a different size book. You may market it differently. You may launch it differently. So for the people that are in my program, we'll be discussing with you individually what's the most important thing for you. So I don't know who answered until later. But these are very important things for you to think about yourself. It's not that you can't have all of them, because you can, but we'll be discussing with you individually what's most important so we can structure your book to get that main thing for you that you want. So remember on Monday, I told you that I had this Amazon bestseller, and you were guessing some wild numbers of like huge amounts of books that I sold, and it was quite a disappointing amount less. And I want to dig into that just for a minute and show you why I didn't sell that many books. I did have wonderful reviews. I had, I think, 27 or more, and they were all really excellent reviews. And so I got reviews from people that were in my target market. I sent them the book. I told them when I was doing the launch, and they bought the book, and they gave me wonderful reviews. But the reason I didn't do really well after that is because I didn't really have a plan for the book. So I was going through this process. Actually, something caught my eye, and there was this big push of these programs on like how to make money on Amazon. So you write these Kindle books, and you would, write the Kindle book, and you would write a book in a week practically. And what they were doing, there was all these programs, and who was making money of them? Well, the program people, the people that were selling the programs, because when Amazon actually started with Kindle books, there was a good opportunity because there weren't that many Kindle books. And so people started putting out Kindle books like crazy. And you wouldn't believe this, but they would actually go on one of these freelancer sites and advertise for freelancers, and they would pay them a ridiculously low amount of money. And they would say, well, write a book on this subject, write a book on gardening, write a book on nutrition, write a book on essential oils, whatever. They'd pay them a really low amount of money, and they would bargain them down. And the people would even say, tell them you're not going to pay them very much. Try to get the cheapest amount you could pay. I won't even tell you how cheap it is. Well, what did you get? You got people from across the world that were desperate for some money, that couldn't even write English properly often. And they would take the money and put together some crap. And then the owner of this business would get a relatively cheap but somewhat decent cover, put it on. And at the beginning, the book sold. So then, of course, they realized, hey, there's a pretty good opportunity to get other people into my program. And that's where they made money, by telling you to write cheap Kindle books. So I actually tried to write a good book. I mean, I did. I wrote a really good book. But the problem is it wasn't part of a business plan. The book was for people who wanted to make money writing about health. So freelancers, freelance health writers. But I had no follow-up. I didn't have a program to sell them. I didn't do anything. I went on to write another book. I wrote a book on LinkedIn. I wrote a book on gardening. Believe it or not, I'm not a gardener, but at least I did it ethically, because I interviewed a gardener, like a professional gardener. And so she had the content, and I wrote it. And that book actually did reasonably well, but it was no benefit to me because I wasn't offering any gardening services. I wasn't, and she had closed her business. She had a nursery at one point, and then she was doing something else now. So yeah, people bought the book, but it was no benefit to anybody. So that's what I don't want you to do. I don't want you to just pick a topic and write a book. And I know that won't happen because you all have some kind of wellness or health profession, and that's what you want to write about. So it's really important to align your book with your mission, your purpose, what you're doing in your business, and what you can offer people, which could be services, could be consulting or training or health products or something else. So this will not happen to you. But I want to tell you why. Now, I had other books that did super well, and I built a whole business around it. The book I told you about, How to Make $1 Million First Impression, well, that was something that I wrote for the wrong audience. I wrote it for college students that were graduating, business students. And I thought, well, there's a big market of business students that want to learn how to, you know, be in the real world. Once you graduate from business school, then you have business dining, you have events, and you have to conduct yourself properly and know how to have a firm handshake and make small talk and all that stuff. So I started marketing it to business students, and like, forget it, nobody wanted to buy it. They were not the least bit interested. They would have paid money, you know, to go have a beer, but they weren't paying that money for a book. So I started networking, and I ended up in a sales network for some reason. I don't remember why. And I was carrying around the book, and salespeople literally came up to me and put $20 in my hand and said, I need your book. So like a light bulb went off, and I thought, oh, okay, well, here's my market. It's salespeople. And once I figured that out, so I did it backwards, but I still arrived in the right place. Then I started marketing it to to the sales part of an organization, and I got speaking. I was, you know, speaking at companies. I was invited to conferences. People bought thousands of copies of the book to give out to people. So I'm going to talk about that in a minute. So what I'm saying is it's super important to have your book aligned with your business, to have a business wrapped around your book. That's how you're going to make money. And as we talked about, you know, running to get a bestseller, I mean, I'd be overjoyed if all of you had a bestseller, or if any of you had a bestseller. And it is good, excuse me, it's good for your ego, but it's the wrong direction to put your energy, because if you don't get a bestseller, and it's pretty hard nowadays, it's really hard on Amazon, it's really hard anywhere because there's just so many books out there. If you don't get it and you spend that energy, you should really spend your energy on the high impact and high results kind of business plans that I'm about to show you. So let's take an example. I'm sure everyone's heard of Dr. Mark Hyman. He's pretty famous. And so let's look at what best-selling wellness authors do. So how is Dr. Hyman making money? Now, he probably does sell a lot of books, and he probably does make a good chunk of money from his books because he's super famous. But if you go to his website, I just took the first thing, I just did a screen capture. The first thing is join my community. Get my free house call podcast. So, okay, look at that. He's asking you for your email address. The first thing he does before he sells you a book, before he does anything, he wants your email address. Now he has podcasts. So he's communicating with you in many ways. Some people like to read, some people like to listen, people like all these things. He's reaching you on multiple channels. Now, here's something really interesting. If you scroll down a little bit on Dr. Hyman's homepage of his website, here's a message from former President Bill Clinton. I hope Dr. Hyman's new book will inspire you as he has inspired me. Well, he didn't say, I hope his podcast will inspire you. He didn't say, I hope his supplements will make you healthier. He didn't say, I hope his training program will help you. He said, his book will inspire you. So just think of how pivotal, if Dr. Hyman didn't have a book, Bill Clinton wouldn't come on and say, I hope that you're inspired by Dr. Hyman supplements. That just wouldn't happen. It's the book that is the inspiration. That's the key of your marketing efforts. So now let's look lower on the page. And if you look at what Dr. Hyman actually has, I mean, look at this. He has programs. So he has, you know, several programs, and each program he has supplements, he has a course, he has books, he has DVDs, he has media, he has a challenge. So this is where I'm sure that Dr. Hyman makes a lot of money. I'm sure this is where he makes the bulk of his money. Yes, he sells some books. Yes, he does some speaking. He does all of those things. And together, I mean, he has a pretty powerful empire. He has an amazing empire with a lot of things working for him. Let's look at someone else. I'm sure you've all heard of J.J. Virgin. Well, look how many books she has out here. Now, I know that some of these are with a mainstream publisher, but when she started with some smaller books that she self-published. Then she got some mainstream publishing, and she still has some smaller books as well in between, because a mainstream publisher takes, you know, 1 to 2 years to get your book out. And so that's a long time for her fans to wait. So sometimes she puts out a smaller book in between just to keep things going. Now, if you go down her page, hey, look what pops up here. She has a sale for President's Day. And so where is she making her money? Well, she has chocolate shakes, she has enzymes, she has supplements, she has bars, and she has her book. They all work together. But, you know, what does she sell the book for? Maybe $15. What does she sell the supplements for? Well, maybe $29 or $35. I don't know. But the thing is that once you buy her supplements, you're going to reorder them. So people are reordering their shakes because they need one every morning for breakfast. Well, you're on her club and you're getting, you know, maybe you're spending $50 a month at her website or $100 or who knows what. Imagine having hundreds or thousands of people each giving you $29 or $30 or $50 a month. I mean, that adds up. That's pretty good. So you may think, well, you know, maybe I should go right to the supplements and forget the book. Well, no, because as we talked about, the book is the cornerstone. It's the way that you reach people through Amazon or through inexpensive ways. The book only costs you, you know, somebody $10 or $15. You can even give it away for free. A lot of people do that. The book may be the way that they find you on Amazon, and maybe on your website you give it away for free or for a few dollars. Anybody can afford your book. Then once they know, like, and trust you, then they want your supplements or your services or your coaching or consulting. So the purpose of your book is to start a conversation about your topic, to get the story to the people who matter. And we talked about that the first day. So for some of you, it's your potential clients, bringing in the right clients for your practice. For some of you, it's meeting planners. For some of you, it's influencers and the media. For some of you, it's companies who hire wellness consultants, and it could be all of those. You could be doing all of those eventually. So I'm going to take each one of these and talk briefly about them. So the first one is media exposure. So as soon as you have a book, the media is more than happy to interview you, because a book is something that shows you're the expert. So you've now become the expert on your topic. Here's a new book. They can open the book, they can read it easily or look at the chapters. They have a conversation starting point, and you can send it to them. You send the media people a free book and say, you know, here's my book, or it's coming out soon. You send them an advance copy. Would you like to interview you? That's happened to me so many times. I've been on the media many, many times, national, international, on podcasts, just because of my book. That's what happens. And probably anyone who sends it out and gets it out there, you'll see that happening. And just a quick message that I did talk about doing some magnetic chapters for anybody who is joining us by the end of today. So we'll come back to that later. I did have some people that took me up on this last night, so welcome. So back to the publicity. This is publicity you could never afford to buy. As you know, it's exorbitantly expensive. If you want to take out a page in a newspaper, you know, you want to do Facebook ads, all of those things, you have to spend money on those. It's not cheap. If you want to take out a radio ad, I mean, you can spend a lot of money and not necessarily, you know, people turn off advertisements, but people don't turn off information about a book if you're being interviewed. And as you know, like, sooner or later, pretty much everybody that's well known and famous gets a book out there. Nelson Mandela, Prince Harry, whoever it is, whether they write it themselves, whether they have a ghostwriter, whether somebody writes it for them, whether they're interviewed and creates a book, whatever it is, most people get a book out there that puts them on the map. Your book puts you on the map, and then other things start happening for you. So the book helps you attract your ideal client, the patient who reads your book and says, yes, I want to work with that person. And it allows you to help people around the world. And I talked about the doctor who did the emotion code, Bradley Nelson, sorry. And he said that once he had his book out, people were contacting him from around the world, and he started helping people on Skype in their own homes, people who didn't live near him, who couldn't come to be helped by him in his own clinic. And that opened up his whole business and expanded it to a huge business now, where he has other people helping him, other health practitioners are working with him. So it helps you build your practice in a way that probably nothing else can in getting the word out. And it helps you sell without selling. So if you hate selling, which I know that a good part of you said that, your book, you know, if you don't want to sell, just say, here's my book, or read my book, and that tells you about my approach. And somebody says, well, I like it. Okay, I want to work with you. You don't have to sell. It educates your patients. I love this little broccoli guy. Reading a book in broccoli, like that's kind of a great image for me. So I hope it is for you too. But, you know, people are educated by books. And one of the surveys that was taken was that people want to, health practitioners want to educate patients. They want a more efficient system, which will give you back hours of time and create more clients who are going to follow what you suggest because they believe in you. They came to you because they believe in you. You know, as Dr. Faust did this survey, and educating patients can streamline your practice. They have fewer questions, require fewer resources, they're healthier, they're happier, and they have a better patient experience, which is better for you and for them. So another way to do this is speaking at conferences, at companies, at trade shows and events. And remember that author is part of authority. So once you're the authority, you're invited to speak at these events, and you can charge exponentially more money. Top speakers, I don't know how many people here do speaking, but I mean, good speakers can charge, you know, 5,000, 10,000, 15,000. I mean, some excellent speakers really charge a huge amount. And the book is the lead-in. And so if you're already a speaker or you want to be, and you have a book, you can increase your amount of money that you ask per speech, or you can, you know, start on the circuit if that's what you want to do, if that interests you. Now, one of the beautiful things about speaking at a conference is the back of the room. It's called BOR, and that's where you sell your books. So after you speak, people rush up to you and they want to buy a copy of your book on the spot, and they want to have you autograph the book. And that's a really wonderful feeling. I've had that happen, and it's really makes you feel good, and it makes people get to know you and your book. They get to know you in person. They buy your subsequent books, or they may become your client or your patient, or they may be people there that will invite you to speak at conferences and events. All of these things happen. Another magical thing that happens is when you're speaking at events, it's a golden opportunity to sell stacks of books at a time. And this happens very often. So if you're speaking at a company or a trade show and you have a book, you can say, and they'll often ask this themselves before you even say it, well, you know, how about giving a copy of my book to everybody? They can put it in the conference bags that people receive. And so maybe you'll sell your book for, you know, a bit less than you would normally sell it for. But let's say your cost price is producing your book is $3 or $4 or $2, but you're buying it's in quantity. So let's say you sell a quantity of books for, you know, $5 a book, but let's say you're selling 3,000 copies. Well, that adds up to some nice money, and then you get paid to speak as well. So it's a pretty good deal. And plus, it's getting your book out to a lot more people that would never have known about you. And those people may, again, become your followers, become your clients, or refer people to you, bring you to speaking engagements. So it all has a kind of spiral effect once you start. Now, teaching is a wonderful way to also grow your business, grow your book revenues. And there's many ways to do this. You can become a teacher in real life in a college or in a, you know, somewhere else in a continuing education program. You can be teaching in person to a group at a community center, a conference. I mean, there's many, many ways you can do it. You can also do coaching and, you know, giving skills, giving training, giving workshops. You can do group coaching, you know, to anybody in the world. Now you're no longer confined to your own space. I know that there's somebody, or there was someone from New Zealand here. I'm not sure if she's on today. We have people from all over. And so, I mean, this has expanded your reach to around the world. However, it wouldn't really happen without your book, because people may not be looking for your program or you're looking for you as a speaker, but they find your book on Amazon, or they find your book in some other forum or format, and then they become interested and become a client. this is for group coaching. I mean, this online platform that we'll be using is ideal. Of course, you can use other platforms, and there's always, you know, some Facebook and stuff like that. So people in my program will see how this works, and it's a wonderful way to do your own program if you want to do coaching and consulting. And I just wanted to go back quickly to the reaching, the ability to reach clients around the world. If you don't need to do hands-on, something hands-on with clients, like if you're consulting about nutrition, Fruit Street is something you could really look into as well. It's telehealth, and so it's for anybody that can consult with, you know, a client or patient somewhere, anywhere in the world, and this is a way that makes it easier. So check it out if that's something that appeals to you. Now, selling supplements, this is actually my client's supplement, and she's writing a book about it because this is a kind of not well-known herb that's for, there's two varieties for prostate and menopausal health. And she found this herb, she's a researcher, she found this herb in Vietnam. It's not well-known in North America yet. So she's writing a book because she needs to educate people, because people don't really trust her or know this brand yet. It's not a big brand. But she's had fantastic clinical trials, mostly not in the US, mostly in other places. And so she's writing the book to tell the story of this product and how it can help people. And that's her sole purpose, is to sell supplements. And so writing the book is a very valuable way, because on her website, she's not allowed to say that it really does anything. The FDA and you know, Health Canada don't let you say much about supplements. You can really say very little. I know, because I had to write some articles for her. I couldn't say anything. The lawyers kept crossing out everything I said. But in your book, you can. So if she doesn't mention the product, I mean, she can sell her products through her book without actually selling the product, and that's why she's doing that. So earlier, somebody asked me, well, what are the 3 ways, or the 2 ways, or the top way? And so here's what I think it is. I think it's your book first, which is getting you out there. I think it's program second, some kind of program, which could be training or teaching or online. It could be big, it could be small, it could be a 1-hour program or a longer program. You could, you know, any kind of program really that you could put together on a DVD or live or whatever it is. Could be a webinar, could be a series of webinars that you give, but you charge for them. And then the next step, usually it goes in this process and this progression, although it doesn't have to. The next step is to have some kind of product. If that fits with what you do, it could be a lot, you know, the most popular, of course, is a line of supplements, shakes, bars, whatever. It could be something else. So that's the 3 key ways. But as I said, speaking is a huge way as well. If you at all like speaking and you want to be a speaker, I mean, you could really do well with speaking. It's a very good way to make money and sell your books at the same time. And another one that's huge is wellness consulting. And I know that some people that are on this boot camp are consultants. You've told me that you are. And so consulting can be actually really lucrative as well. I mean, you could reach people around the world. You can consult for corporations or associations or organizations on wellness, on health, on fitness, on diet, on nutrition. I mean, there's many, many companies that have wellness programs, and those can be really, really lucrative and very beneficial to help more people. So it boils down to your book is at the smallest price point, because you know, people can buy your book for $2 or $3 as a Kindle book, or get it for free, or $5 or $10. But that little price point can help you reach tens of thousands of people you would never connect with. They would never find you any other way. These are people around the world. So that's why the book is so valuable. Even if people don't buy your book, even if they just see it, your cover is representing you. Even people who maybe not buy your book, but they see your brand, they see what you do, and they say, oh, I know that person wrote this book, and you know, now I see he has a program, or she's, you know, she has some supplements, and so, you know, I'm going to check them out. I can tell you from experience that your book can travel to mysterious places all on its own without your knowing it. I've had one of my books published in 20 languages, countries I've never been to, in China and Japan, My book was a bestseller in Indonesia, and I have copies of that book, which I can't read. So it could really take you to places that you don't even dream of. And something I didn't mention also is that anyone who has a book that is, I didn't even make a slide for this, but anyone who has a book that wants to sell it in other countries, you need a foreign agent. And people in my program, I'll help you with that. I know how to match you up with foreign agents. So you need to get your book out first. And you might sell more books somewhere else than you even sell in the US or in Canada. You never know. So the book is the starting point for bringing you all kinds of benefits and changing lives, your own and other people's. Your book and your business can create your nest egg, because if you have something ongoing, books or programs or DVDs that you can sell, you know, maybe you want to take more time off, or maybe you want to retire, or maybe you want to do something else. And your book is out there and it's working for you night and day when you're doing something else. And many of you said you want to leave your footprint or your legacy in the world. Well, what else is more enduring than a book? You know, your legacy could be helping people, but that's individuals. Your legacy could be a training program, but nobody says, you know, it's just not the same entity. It doesn't have the authority that leaving a footprint or legacy comes from a book. So that is the way you'll do it. And I know that I think almost half of you said that was pretty important to you. So it's a source of pride when your book comes out. It's something that your family will be proud of. You know, you celebrate when the book comes out. It's just a really wonderful feeling. And as someone who has given birth to 2 children and now have 2 tiny grandchildren, I have to say that your first book, when you open that box from Amazon or whatever it is, and you take your print book out, it is almost as good a feeling. Like, it is really that good a feeling. Even after you've written many books, every time a book comes in that you wrote, the first time you see it, it's like really a peak moment in your life. So I want you to have that for whoever wants to have that wonderful feeling. So now we've talked about a couple of wonderful ways, amazing ways to monetize or get opportunities from your book. And we're going to launch another poll, Tracy, on which of these opportunities excites you most. And maybe you have the same as before, maybe you changed your mind. So let's just take a little pulse check and see where you are now.
Thank you, Linda. The poll is in progress. We'll just give everyone just a moment more to respond. Excellent. And let me show you the results. Building your business practice, 39%. Getting speaking gigs, 26%. Selling healthcare products, 9%. Teaching, training, or coaching, 74%. And consulting, 22%.
Okay, interesting. And as I said, it doesn't mean that you can't do more than one. So yeah, that's very interesting. And so, I mean, the natural thing that comes out of having a book is wanting to help more people, and teaching or training or coaching is one of the ways. And so, I mean, I'll be happy to talk more about that at some point, but I just want to move on a little bit. But it is one of the most wonderful things. It's a way of giving back and actually getting people to take action from your book and get results, and that's the most important thing. So just to summarize a little bit, today we discussed the pot of gold at the end of the rainbow. I think you've seen that there are a few pots of gold now. We talked about 6 main ways, probably a little more, about how most of the famous, well-known wellness authors really make their money, which is from all kinds of programs, training programs, speaking, coaching, consulting, and everything else. And why you might want to give away your book for free, well, that's because you want to generate leads and you want to get people into your programs, which could be coaching or consulting or training. So that's a decision you make later. You might have a free version of the Kindle book, but charge for the print book. There's many ways to do it, but Think about it, and you know, you don't need to decide now. I mean, once your book is out, you can make some decisions. So I want to give you a few little surprising tips. I'm going to leave you with a little splash because we're coming closer to the end. So one of the things that you can start doing as soon as you have a book title and a working title, it doesn't even have to be your final title, is you start calling yourself the forthcoming author of. And so, you know, the forthcoming author of the book on plant-based nutrition or whatever it is. You can still change it. You can still change your title, but you start putting that in your email signature line and in your, you know, any social media that you have. And so it starts building buzz. People start asking you, well, when's your book coming out? Well, what's it about? And so you want to build excitement way before your book comes out. You want to start, you know, getting people involved and people interested and get people's questions. So you make sure that you answer them in the book. So this is a really neat little trick. And anybody today, whether you're in my program or not, you can just, if you have a title and you're going to write your book, I mean, just start calling yourself the forthcoming author of the name of your book. It's free to do that, so anyone can do it. When you have your book, always carry copies of your book with you. My friend, my client, Dr. Michael, was saying how he met some neighbor and he was talking about his book, and he said the neighbor asked for a copy, and luckily he had some copies in his trunk of his car. This has happened to me many times. I always keep a box of books in my car, because you never know when you meet someone at the grocery store or somewhere else, and you start talking about, they ask you what you're doing, and you talk about your book, and they say, you know, you want to show them a copy of your book. Maybe you give it to them, or they buy it. And I talked about this a little earlier. So the secret to finishing your book, but this is such an important one, is to set your personal deadline. And so when I was with the publisher, that's one thing, is they give you a deadline, and it's pretty well not enjoyed if you don't meet your deadline. Part of the reason I wrote so many books is because I was very, very diligent about meeting my deadlines. Not the only reason, of course, but part of it. But once I was on my own, I had nobody to tell me when to finish the book. And it's so easy to just say, well, you know, I'm really busy, I'm tired, I have something else going on. So I would always set a personal deadline. And the first time, it was actually someone else was giving a talk, and she said she would mention my book. And so I worked frantically to get the book done by a certain date, and I got it done, and she did mention my book, and I sold a few, you know, I sold a good number of copies, and at least the book was done, and then I went on to do other things with it. Another time I was speaking at an event myself, but this was for a different book. So I made sure the book got done by that event, because I had to get it done, because, you know, people were coming to listen to that event. So I needed to get the book done. Now, my client, Michael, he set the book launch date for his birthday, and he was a tiny bit late. He was about a week or two late due to unforeseen circumstances, but he pretty much got it done. Like, he kept saying, I got to get it done for my birthday. If it's a week or two late, it's okay. But he did. He got it done because he set that date. So at some point, this does not have to be all the time. You know, we're going to be working in the program where you're going to be setting goals of writing a certain amount each day, and you're going to decide on your launch date and your publishing date. But there may be a little bit of time at the end where there's a little crunch, and you have to review the manuscript and check the edits and stuff, and you just tell everybody, go away, I have a deadline, I've got to get this book done by, you know, this date. And that's fine. I know that we've all had some crunch times in our lives. Sometimes you just have to get something done. So as I said, you set your own deadline. I'm not going to set it for you. This is personal. It has to be personal, because no one can ever motivate you. You can only motivate yourself. You know, you can never motivate your clients or your patients to do something that they don't want to do. But if they're super motivated, they will have a way, and you will find a way to do what you decide. So it's really about you, but I'm there to support you and help you get to your goal. So we talked about this little chart quite extensively now. We talked about how without a goal, you're adrift. Without a focus, you don't have any readers because your book is not focused on the right people. Without a structure, you'll have a confusing book. because it won't be well written. Without a method, you'll never get it finished. If you don't have a method, without the design, your book will not look professional. And so today we're talking about the strategy. And so what is your overriding goal, which could be training or coaching, as many of you said? What is the strategy for getting there? And in the book, how are you going to set up your book to meet those goals and help you get what you want? And that's very important to know before you even write your book, because there's numerous ways you can do that. And the final thing is having a team. And without a team, you won't have the traction, because you'll be trying to do things on your own and spinning your wheels looking for professionals to help you, not knowing who's actually reliable. And I can tell you that reliability is one of the biggest things. I've worked with designers, many designers, who just disappeared, like literally. They were doing some work for me and they disappeared in the middle, and I couldn't get something finished. Designers, I mean, I love designers. I wanted to be one. They're creative, they're wonderful, but there are many designers who are not reliable. They're not business people. So they may have brilliant ideas in design, but they're not reliable. And that can actually impact your success hugely if you're on a deadline to get your book finished, to do the layout of your book, to get your cover done, and your designer is not available because he or she didn't manage their time well. It's happened to me. And in a publishing environment with a publisher, that won't happen, but when you're on, it could. So yes, you can self-publish with the right team, and the right people that you need on your team are your designer, your editor, your printer, and hopefully your coach, because I think it'll make your life a lot easier and a lot more straightforward. So let's go to the Q&A. Now we're at our final Q&A for today and for this week. And well, not the Q&A yet. I want to know your biggest aha moment. It could be from today, or it could be from anything you've heard up to now. So let's just share some brilliant and wonderful takeaways that you have and how you're going to put them into action. So let's launch this, Tracy, and see what we get.
Thanks, Linda. And just go to the question and answer box, and you can let us know by typing in what was your biggest or is your biggest aha moment so far. And we'll just give everyone just a moment to let us know. It doesn't need to be from today. It can be from any day this week. I guess some of the biggest, here we go, Linda, all the resources that have been given this week.
Okay, great.
And then also, I feel like I'm in great hands, and I'm going to create a lot of great content to help people and build my business around it.
That's wonderful.
We also have that the book is an entry point to other functions and exposure. Also, the addictive emotional rating for your title, and creating a business plan around the book and the huge leverage the book gives you that is unlike anything else. And then Judy says there's just way too many good points to select just one. The information about how long it takes to write so many words was very helpful. It made me see that it was indeed possible to write a book if disciplined and on deadline. We also have the readability level and the standalone chapters. Also, I love all of the practical tips. For example, the bibliography site, referring to yourself as forthcoming author, etc. Great job, Linda. And then how a book fits into a total product or service line. That a book can give it so much spin-off. Pauline's biggest aha moment is to think about the back cover and how the book will benefit the readers. And we have one more. Oh, and Amy said the whole week has been spectacular, Linda, and can't thank you enough.
Oh, that's great. Any more? Or,
And that is it for right now. Thanks.
okay, good. So we're going to go on to kind of wrap this up a little bit. And I know that some of you have seen parts of this, and I apologize if you've heard it a few times, but some people are new. We always get some new people on. So I hope you enjoyed this week's sessions. And as I said, there's only so much we can do in 5 days. And you know, what we've covered is basically these 5 things: the upper structure, the focus, design, structure, writing, and opportunity. But there's still so much we didn't cover because that really takes a little more time. And so, I mean, there's things like readers' profiles, writing techniques, Amazon launches, tables of content and how to formulate them, getting testimonials and feedback, creating stories, creating the foreword for your book, the copyright page, the introduction, the book pricing, the social media, ongoing sales. Don't be overwhelmed by that, but there still are details which we haven't gone into. It's, you know, they say God is in the details, or the details make the final product. And so you have now the structure, you have the basic concepts and maybe an overload of information. But there's still the details that make it all come together to have a really dynamite book that's really going to build your business. And I know that at the beginning, you know, many of you were like overwhelmed of what to do. And, you know, everything is difficult. All things are difficult before they're easy. So once you've done this, and once you've done a good book, you can do many more books. I mean, you could do smaller books or bigger books, or go after a publisher, or whatever it is you want. It's always the first one that's the hardest, of course. Doing anything for the first time is like monumentally difficult until you've done it and you say, okay, well, now I know the process and now I can do more. Something else that happened with my group, the first group that I did, is they all started following everything I'm doing and implementing. So none of them knew about Zoom. And now some of them are doing coaching and training using Zoom. None of them knew about Finish Agent. None of them knew how to do a launch. This wasn't specifically in the book, in the course I was giving, but they all picked up some wonderful tips on how to build their business. And just by watching what I was doing and following, and then some of them are doing some of these things themselves. So that's kind of like just a side benefit. I think of myself as the mother duck, and you know, a few little ducks following after if that's of interest to you. You've met some of my clients. Again, this is Sue on the right side. She's the one that's writing the book about Krilla Health. And you've seen, excuse me, Dr. Michael and Karen. And I love what Karen said about you make it as easy as connecting the dots, almost idiot-proof. Because as I said, Karen is not an idiot. She's a really smart woman. But she needed someone to help her connect the dots. She had tons of content and ideas, and she just didn't know how to put it all together. And now she does, and her book is like amazing. So again, starting on March 1st, which is now less than 2 weeks away, we'll be starting the Write a Wellness Book Sprint. And I'll be advising, coaching, and guiding you if you want to join to get the book out that will change your practice and your life in many wonderful ways. We'll be covering the main things we talked about, which is defining your goals, your audience, your message, how to structure and create your book, writing, editing, recording, designing, formatting, and publishing. And if anyone wants to check all this again, I have a web page up now on my site, wellnessinc.com, and then it's wellness-book-sprint. I'll put this up again later so you can check it. So if you want to go over everything again, you can go there. So again, the training will be multi-format with live meetings and audio and the slides and everything afterwards if you can't make it. But we'll be on talking and I'll be able to see you. It's not like today where it's a webinar format. On the live training, we talk together. I see your faces. If you don't want to be on live video, you can always use your phone. But we get together and we talk to each other. And this is how many of the people in the group became friends and started helping each other and helped each other record their books, because you see the people in the group and you form some bonds. You'll also get all these resources, which are innumerably valuable, because if I give you the template for your table of contents, it's just going to make it so much easier than if I say, okay, go do your table of contents. I just, it's plug and play, put this here, put this there, and you'll get it done so much faster than if you, if I just told you what to do and you went to do it. You'll have all my professional resources. And again, this is very valuable because you can waste a lot of money with the wrong designers and not getting a professional cover and not liking what you do and printing books at the wrong place and spending too much money. All of these things take time. They take time to find someone, and they could be big time and money wasters when they don't work. But I've spent years doing this, finding these resources. So I know that the designer I tell you to go to is not going to disappear and not finish your book cover. Like, that's not going to happen. Because I've worked with them already. We'll have the accountability in the private group, and you'll have a buddy to work with. And this is really important. And I will also be there coaching you personally, and not somebody else that I bring in to be your coach. And of course, the fun thing is that the proof you could do it, because I'll be writing my own book along with you, and we'll finish and publish together for whoever's ready to publish. And hopefully some people will. If you're not and you can't be ready by then you just take the time you need. So we talked about the investment, which is 4 payments of $497, or you can pay the whole thing at once if you choose, and how you can actually save money by not getting the wrong resources, but also using my editing techniques that I'm going to teach you. For an average size book, you could pay up to $3,000 for a good editor, but the techniques I show you will drastically cut it to, cut it down by 70 or 80%. So you only need maybe some copy editing. Of course, if you choose to get more editing because you're busy and you don't want to do it yourself, then that's always an option. But I'll work with you to find what's best for you. How to avoid costly publishing mistakes, and how to save money on printing your book, which again, you need to know which printers are book printers, because they're not all book printers. And you might go to your local photocopy shop and they say, oh yeah, they'll print your book, but they don't know really how to print books as a specialty. So if you don't know who's a book printer and where to find a good one, and the prices range drastically, you could end up spending quite a bit more money than you need to. So again, I say, what I'm saying is that if you apply and we have a conversation, and if in the conversation either of us feels that this is not right for you, then you'll get your deposit back, no questions asked. I think you trust me enough to know that I do that. I don't want anybody's money if they're not the right person for the course. That's not my goal. And so we'll be having a conversation. As soon as you sign up, you'll receive a link to schedule your phone call. I already have quite a few phone calls scheduled. And then we'll talk about your book. And if anybody still has a burning question that I haven't answered today, or you don't feel like you can ask it on the call right now, you can email me and I'll send you a link to schedule a call, and we'll talk about your concerns or what's on your mind. And so I really want the people in this course to be the right ones, and only the right ones. I want it to be the best course possible for those that are the best people to be in the course, and not for anyone else, because I want you to succeed. I don't want anyone in the course that won't succeed. And so I'm putting a lot of time and commitment into helping you. And so together, it's a team effort. You put in your time and commitment, I put in mine, and together we'll have great success. So I just want to let you know that this closes at midnight, February 20th. No matter how many people are in or not in, whatever number we are at, I'm closing it at February 20th, because after that I need time to prepare, start working with the clients that have signed up. And this won't be available again for a while. I don't know exactly when I will relaunch this. It might be a higher price. It probably will be. I really don't know yet. So, if you're thinking, well, maybe I'm going to miss something in March, maybe I have a vacation, I mean, don't let that be the reason to stop you. Only if you really can't do it or it's just not for you. But if you think you might want to do this, then, give yourself the benefit of the doubt and see if it's for you. So let's just talk about where will you be one year from today. I mean, will you be proudly holding your published book, or will you still be making excuses? I'm too tired, I didn't have time, I couldn't do it, I didn't know what to do. I mean, I hope you don't say I didn't know what to do, but you know, if you didn't make it a priority, maybe 1 year from now, you'll be taking my course or someone else's course, or buying a book on Amazon saying, well, how do I write a book? Because now I want to do it. But a year will have gone by, and in that year, you could have gotten your book out, maybe even more than one book. You could have maybe launched a training program, a coaching program, done some speeches, made up the money you spent in this course. I mean, any of those things could have happened. And so a year will go by. The time's going to go by no matter what. So how are you going to make the most use out of it? So a wise person said, freedom lies in being bold. And if you're ready to be bold, then I'd love to have you join me. You'll be joining some of my wonderful clients that I've worked with and continue to work with. And this offer, I still have a little bit of place in the top 10. So you can still get this today. I will write your back cover copy. And I still have this little magnetic offer. So I had 2 people last night signed up. I have 3 people left who could still get the offer to write the magnetic titles that will track the media. Those titles are in your chapter titles. And of course, everyone who joined previously will get that. But I will really be saying that this offer is going to stop at 6 p.m. today, Eastern, which is just under 2 hours from where I am, or whatever time zone you're in, slightly less than 2 hours from now. And so, yeah, I'm going to open it up for any final questions, anything that you want to ask that I haven't answered, and then we'll be signing off in a few minutes. So Tracy, let's open it up to any final questions.
Thank you, Linda, and what a great presentation. We do have a few questions coming in. One of them is, what was the name of the group coaching software Linda used?
Yeah.
You showed it in a slide today.
It's called Finish Agent. And you can Google it online, and they also have a program that shows you how to use it effectively to create coaching programs. The program has just been finished now, but you'll probably have a new one soon. So if you email me and you want to know about it, I'll tell you how to get in touch with the person that that runs these programs, because it's when you do the program, you actually get the software included, but if you don't do the program, the software is more expensive. So it's actually worth doing the program, which I took in the summer. It was very, very valuable. It shows you how to effectively put together the groups and coach people. So, I mean, the coaching is not just your content, but it's how to manage the groups and how to organize them in a way that's effective. And so I highly recommend, if that's something you want, to consider that when it's launched again. So we'll have to wait for the next launch period.
Thanks, Linda. Our next question is, where can we watch the earlier webinars in this series? I didn't hear about the series until today.
Well, that is a bit of a problem, because I have told people that they're only open for 24 hours, and it's unfortunate because I can't really give something to one person that I have not given to other people. So, I mean, the people that are in my course, if you've seen enough that you might want to join or you want to have a conversation, I mean, anyone that's joined my program will get all the webinars to watch again as much as you want. But I can't really give the previous ones to anybody, unfortunately. But I will be happy to have a conversation with you to see how I can help you and support you in other ways. And at the end of today, you will get today's webinar, which everybody will get in, about an hour after we close.
Thank you, Linda. Next is, thanks for everything you have shared with us. It has been very helpful and well organized. Linda, you mentioned that you had attended a course on how to create courses. Could you please let us know which course you attended? Oh, and also what you thought of it.
Yes, actually, this is another course that just closed. And I was part of the, I was an ambassador for the course because I loved it so much and it was so valuable. It's called Course Builders Laboratory, or cblab.com. I think, I'm not sure if it's cblab.com. You could try that, or just Google Course Builders Laboratory. Sorry, and the person who gives it is named Danny Iny, I-N-Y, D-A-N-N-Y, You can Google him. And if you need the information, you can email me and I'll send it to you. Now, again, he just launched the course and it just closed. So I think he relaunches it maybe twice a year or 3 times a year. And I highly recommend it because it teaches you how to do a pilot project, which other courses don't. And you also get a coach. And that's made all the difference for me, because I had actually bought a very expensive course, more expensive than this one, earlier, and it just sat on my desktop, and I kept thinking, okay, I should do it. Why am I not doing this? It's because I got stuck and I didn't have anybody to ask. This course builder is really an internet marketer, which is who gives a lot of courses out there. So they find a topic that's popular, they create a course, and then you never hear from them again. So they launch a Facebook group, you go to the Facebook group, and as I talked about, it's the blind leading the blind. There's a bunch of people on there saying, hey, I'm so excited, I'm doing this, but I don't know how to do this part. Does anyone know? Well, nobody knows, because they're all the same boat as you. And the person who created the course is nowhere to be found. And that's exactly what happened to this quite expensive course I bought, which had some wonderful modules and some wonderful content and ideas, but I had no one to ask questions. So it sat on my desktop for a year. It made me feel guilty. It made me feel bad. And I didn't create the course. And then by accident, I stumbled on the next one, which was the Course Builders Laboratory. And I thought, I must be stark raving crazy to go and buy another course of equal cost, which was also not that cheap. It's more expensive than I'm charging for this course. But they had all this proven systems and they had all the support. And I said, well, you know what? I mean, I already lost that money because I can't do what I did before. I can't use that course. So I'm going to invest again in this course. But in this course, in my first pilot, I paid off the course in 6 weeks because I had guidance. That made all the difference. In 6 weeks, I got my money back. And since then, it's been wonderful. You know, I've been giving the course and had good clients and students. So that's a course I highly recommend. And the difference in that course from the other one was the guidance. I mean, that's what makes all the difference now when you learn on the internet, because you're not in a classroom. You don't have a teacher standing in front of you where you could say, I don't understand this, can you explain it? If you don't have a coach or coaching or a program for someone helping you, no matter what you buy, you're on your own. And it's just really not effective. So I'll be happy to send you the link for that, anybody who emails me about it. And then once you get on the list, you'll know when their next course is launched. I hope that answers your question.
Thanks, Linda. And we actually have one of our guests that is taking that course right now.
Oh, really? Wonderful.
Yes.
All right.
Isn't that great? I have a few more questions to ask you, Linda.
Yeah.
And just a reminder,
Yeah.
if you have any more questions, just type them into Linda and I will read them for you. This is a great one. What can we do between now and March 1st to prepare for writing our book?
So I don't know if this is someone that joined or did not join. If you joined, I will be giving you some stuff. There's already a platform where you probably have gone in, and if not, then you should go in, and there's an opening survey and there's a welcome guide. And right after this, I'm going to be putting in some new things that you can do to start preparing.
And Linda, he did join, so just to let you know.
Okay, so I will be communicating with you once this is over. At the end of today, on Monday, I will be communicating with you, and so don't worry. So you'll have plenty of wonderful things to start with, and we'll be in touch.
Thank you, Linda. And just a couple of, Ian says, thank you very much for your openness and honesty. We have one question, though, about how does one do an index?
An index at the back of the book. I would suggest that you don't try to do it yourself, that you hire somebody. There is some software that shows you how to do it. I have not tried it myself. And it's a tricky thing, and it's very time consuming. I would suggest that you outsource it if you need one. Not every book needs one, but if you want one, I really suggest outsourcing that. And I can provide some names or some help in how to find someone that does it. There are specialists in it. I have never done one myself, and when I worked with a publisher, I always put it in my contract that they will hire an indexer because it's just very tedious and something I don't enjoy doing. So I would highly recommend that unless you're the most detail-oriented person and you want to do it yourself, then you learn to do it, that you just hire somebody for that.
And is it necessary to do an index?
No, it's really not. It depends on your book. If your book is shorter than maybe 150 pages or so, I think you don't need an index. It is a helpful tool. So, but there's a little of expense doing it. So I think it's a question of if you have some budget for it, it's a nice to have. I don't think it's vital to have.
Thank you, Linda. Our next question is how well you feel your course can integrate with a course builder course. And this is the direction he wants to head, but currently he's unsure as to the best order to do things.
Well, that's a good question. In many ways, there's many similarities in writing a book and building a course because you're targeting a certain audience. Some of the exercises are somewhat similar to understanding your audience, but the output is different. So there's two ways you could do it. You could do the Course Builders Laboratory shows you how to do a launch and of a pilot. You can do a pilot and then really get to know the people in your pilot and find out what they want and then do your book. And then after you do your book, you can go and do a launch of a bigger course, which is that's what I'm doing as well. So I did my launch, and of course I've written books before, but I'm doing the launch. I did the pilot, and this is a bigger launch, and I'm going to be writing a book very targeted to this when I'm writing my book alongside you. The other thing you could do is, since you bought CB Lab, you can put it aside for 3 months and do the book now, do your book, and start getting buzz for your course. And CB Lab, there's not any time period. There is that you could do it in 60 days. You can do your pilot, but you don't have to. You can do it anytime you want. The coaches will always be there to support you. I wouldn't try to do both of them at once. I would choose which one you want to do. Concentrate on that for 2 months or 3 months, depending on if it's your book, and then go back and do the other one. Now, again, if you want to join my program, we will be working together with live training, but if you want to wait and not do the live training or listen but not follow through, you could. That's another option. But I think if you join now and you want to do the live training, you should kind of follow along to get your book done, and it's kind of maybe wait with CB Lab if that's your choice, but it's really your choice. And if you have more questions about that, you can email me and we can talk it through.
Thanks, Linda. Mm-hmm. And this will give everyone just a quick moment if they have any more questions. This is your time to ask Linda. And Linda, comment, thank you again.
You're welcome. And I have to say sincerely that I have enjoyed this very much. There were a few little technical things behind the scenes that you might not know about that I didn't enjoy, but that was all just technical stuff. But Tracy and I had a few anxious moments yesterday when my headset wouldn't work no matter what. It worked and then it stopped and it wouldn't work. And we got it working like just 2 minutes before we started. But aside from that, right? Yes, we had a big sigh of relief when it finally came back on. And no microphone. I had 3 different ones and none of them would work. But anyway, finally we got it working. That's just, some of the stuff that happens. But the actual talking and being with you has been wonderful. I've enjoyed every minute of it. And the emails I've been getting and your questions and your comments have been wonderful. I want to just go back to the web page in case anybody wants to go there just to check it out. So again, is wellnessinc.com, which is my website with a K, and then is wellness-book-sprint. So again, I'll leave that up for just a half a second more. We'll see if there's any final questions. Or have we answered everything, Tracy?
And Linda, we've actually answered all of our questions today.
Wow, wonderful. Okay, so I guess either you're all very clear or all very befuddled. I hope it means you're all very clear. Again, you will receive the recording. It will be up for 24 hours. So please try to listen. It's the weekend. I don't know how busy you are, but hopefully on Saturday, if not tonight, you'll be able to listen. It will go down at 6 p.m. tomorrow. And but this offer to get your magnetic titles is finishing today in 6 p.m. Eastern today at so just an hour and a half from now. So if you want that wonderful benefit, 3 people can still get that. Then whether people join or not within that hour, I'm going to take that down. And so yeah, I just want to leave you with a final little cute picture. It's goodbye for now. The Wellness Book Sprint is about to hit the waters. And I need some quotation marks here. See, always some little thing. And so I'd love for anyone who wants to join me and be part of the group. If it's not good for you now, for whatever reason, we will see each other again at some point. I don't know if I'll be doing this week-long training. That I really don't know. But I will have some webinars or something going on where you can join me. You're on my list, so you will be finding out. As long as you don't unsubscribe, you'll be getting my blog posts and other information about what I offer, and really good, valuable information in the blog posts. And we will see each other again. So goodbye for now. It's been a pleasure, and have a wonderful weekend, everybody.